The sun was setting over the bustling city, casting a golden hue on the streets lined with towering glass buildings that reflected the fading light like shards of amber. In the heart of this metropolis, where ambition and wealth intertwined like the intricate veins of a leaf, lived Alexander Grant, a billionaire known for his sharp business acumen and reserved demeanor. His sprawling penthouse overlooked the city's skyline, a panorama of shimmering lights and endless possibility. But today his attention was elsewhere, drawn away from the usual luxuries and power plays. In a quieter neighborhood not far from his corporate empire, a small park cradled a modest bench nestled beneath the wide, sheltering branches of a sprawling oak. The leaves rustled softly in the gentle evening breeze, their shadows dancing across the worn wooden seat. Here, a woman sat, her eyes fixed lovingly on the small boy in her lap. The boy's fragile body trembled slightly as he struggled to hold a spoon, his movements slow and uncertain, each motion requiring immense effort. The woman, his mother, gently guided his hand, feeding him with patience and tenderness that transcended words. Alexander had been walking home from a long, draining meeting when he noticed this scene. The contrast between the opulence he was accustomed to, the polished marble floors, the sleek steel of his skyscraper, and the raw vulnerability before him struck a chord deep within his chest. The mother's worn clothes, faded from countless washes, and the boy's medical equipment, a thin nasal tube. The soft hum of a portable oxygen concentrator hinted at hardship, yet the love between them radiated with undeniable strength. It was a quiet defiance against the hardships life had imposed. He lingered there, almost hidden in the shadows cast by the oak's branches, watching as she whispered soothing words to her son, her voice a balm to the boy's restless spirit. The scent of nearby blooming jasmine mingled with the faint aroma of the child's formula, blending into the cool evening air. The faint rustling of leaves was punctuated by distant sounds of city life, the hum of traffic, a siren far away, the chatter of passers-by. Yet here in this small pocket, time seemed to slow. Alexander's heart tightened. He had never seen such resilience, so close yet so far from his own world of boardrooms and luxury. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and lavender, the mother packed up their few belongings with quiet efficiency. The boy nestled securely against her chest, his small fingers curling around her blouse. Alexander found himself compelled to approach, his steps hesitant as uncertainty and respect held him back. Instead, he simply watched, feeling an unfamiliar stirring of compassion and curiosity that unsettled his normally controlled demeanor. The city's noise faded beneath the soft rustling of leaves and the occasional chirp of a bird settling in for the night. Alexander knew this encounter was only the beginning of a story far beyond his usual realm. The struggling single mom feeding his disabled son had unknowingly opened a door to a world he was about to enter, one filled with challenges, hopes, and the fragile beauty of human connection. The woman's name was Emily Harper. Her days were a relentless cycle of care, work, and worry, each moment a delicate balance between exhaustion and hope. At just 28, she bore the immense weight of single motherhood for her 8-year-old son, Liam, whose cerebral palsy left him dependent on constant assistance. Their small apartment was humble but filled with love, a clutter of scattered toys on the threadbare carpet, colorful drawings pinned haphazardly to the peeling walls, and medical devices humming softly in the corner, their steady beeps and whirs a constant soundtrack to their lives. Emily juggled 2 jobs, cleaning offices by day and waiting tables by night, sacrificing sleep and personal time to ensure Liam's needs were met. She rose before dawn, her hands aching from the previous day's labor, knuckles rough and skin cracked, yet she never faltered in her devotion. Liam's fragile smile, a small but powerful beacon, fueled her spirit, even on the darkest days when despair threatened to overwhelm. Every morning she prepared Liam's meals meticulously, adapting textures to his swallowing difficulties, feeding him bit by bit with unwavering patience. The scent of simmering broth and mashed vegetables filled their tiny kitchen, mingling with the faint antiseptic smell of Liam's therapy equipment and the faint aroma of lemon-scented cleaning spray lingering from her earlier chores. The kitchen window overlooked a brick wall, but Emily often imagined the sun shining through open fields beyond. Despite financial strain, Emily never showed despair. She was a fortress of hope. Her nights were punctuated by gentle lullabies whispered to Liam, soft melodies that wrapped him in comfort, and dreams of a better future danced behind her tired eyes. The community around her knew of her struggles but rarely saw the depths of her exhaustion or the breadth of her courage. Neighbors exchanged nods but seldom offered more, caught in their own battles. Emily's world was small but fierce, defined by love, sacrifice, and an unyielding will to provide for Liam. She was a single mother, a warrior in the shadows fighting battles unseen. The encounter in the park was a brief moment in her day, yet it planted a seed of possibility that neither she nor Alexander could yet comprehend. In the quiet moments before dawn, when the city was still and the first birds began to sing, Emily often wondered if fate had something more in store. Little did she know, her life was about to intertwine with a man whose resources could change everything, but only if courage and trust could bridge their disparate worlds. Days passed, but the image of Emily feeding Liam in the park haunted Alexander. He found himself restless in his penthouse, the usual hum of wealth and power replaced by a gnawing unease that tugged persistently at his conscience. Behind the polished veneer of success, the tailored suits, and the constant meetings, he grappled with a growing desire to do more than just observe, to make a tangible difference in a world that often turned blind eyes to suffering. Emily's struggle was not isolated. The city was full of stories like hers, silent battles fought in dimly lit apartments and shadowed streets where hope flickered like a candle in the wind. Yet, her determination sparked something rare in Alexander, a longing to bridge the gap between privilege and hardship, to reach beyond his insulated bubble. Meanwhile, Emily faced mounting challenges. Liam's therapy sessions were costly, and her income barely covered rent and essentials. Just last week, her worn stroller had broken down unexpectedly, forcing her to carry Liam through crowded sidewalks, balancing his weight along with her own exhaustion. The strain was visible in her tired eyes, dark circles etched beneath them, and her stiffened shoulders that bore the burden of unrelenting responsibility. One evening, after a long, grueling shift, Emily returned home to find a notice taped to her door, a rent increase that threatened to uproot their fragile stability. Panic surged through her chest as she clutched Liam close, the boy's soft breaths against her neck a bittersweet comfort amid the threat of uncertainty pressing down like a heavy fog. Despite these pressures, Emily refused to let despair take hold. She sought out support groups and charity clinics, finding solace in shared experiences and the occasional warm embrace of newfound friends, but still feeling the sting of isolation. The city's indifferent sprawl seemed to swallow her hopes whole, its towering buildings casting long shadows over her small, struggling world. Alexander, meanwhile, began researching nonprofits and aid programs, searching for ways to help without intruding. Yet the distance between their worlds seemed vast and impenetrable, a chasm filled with unspoken fears and pride. He wrestled with how to approach Emily without overwhelming her dignity, or disrupting the delicate balance she maintained with such fierce resolve. The struggle was no longer just hers or his. It was a shared tension between two lives on the cusp of collision. The first signs of change had emerged, fueled by compassion, but shadowed by uncertainty, and the silent question of whether trust could be offered and accepted. One chilly morning, the kind where the air carries a subtle crispness that tingles in the lungs and the scent of damp earth rises from the park's soil, Alexander returned to the bench beneath the oak. The familiar scent of jasmine lingered faintly, mingling with the freshness of morning dew, and the bench awaited like an old friend, bearing witness to the unfolding story. Emily sat there, as if fate had reserved this spot for their meeting. Her breath formed delicate clouds in the cold air, and Liam rested against her chest, his small fingers twitching with quiet anticipation. She looked up as Alexander approached, surprise flickering in her eyes, quickly masked by cautious reserve. He approached cautiously, his heart pounding in a rhythm unfamiliar to him, less the steady beat of business and more the erratic pulse of vulnerability. "Excuse me," he began, voice gentle, almost tentative. "I couldn't help but notice you with your son. I'm Alexander." Emily's gaze met his, searching for sincerity amid the unspoken questions. "Emily," she replied softly, clutching Liam closer as if drawing strength from his presence. "I want to help," Alexander said, words heavy with sincerity and a hint of desperation to bridge the gap between them. "Not charity, real help, support for you and Liam. If you'll let me." Emily hesitated, pride battling with need, the silence stretching between them like a fragile thread. Finally she nodded, a tentative smile breaking through her guarded expression. "Thank you," she whispered, voice trembling with a mix of relief and apprehension. That day marked a catalyst, the moment when two worlds converged beneath the oak's protective branches. Alexander's offer was more than financial aid. It was an invitation to trust and partnership. Emily, though wary, glimpsed a possibility beyond mere survival, a chance to rewrite their story. Together, they began to chart a path forward. Alexander promised to respect Emily's autonomy, understanding that help without dignity was hollow and empty. Emily shared Liam's needs and dreams, opening a window into her world, her hopes etched deep within every word. The air was crisp with promise, the park's quiet witness to a new chapter unfolding. As the sun rose higher, so did hope, illuminating the power of courage and compassion in the face of adversity. This meeting was not an end, but a beginning, a spark that would ignite transformation for them both, kindling a flame that neither could yet fully comprehend. In the days following their meeting, Alexander immersed himself in understanding the complexities of Liam's condition with an intensity that surprised even him. He consulted specialists, therapists, and educators, determined to provide Emily with resources that could truly make a difference. His penthouse became cluttered with medical journals and notes, a stark contrast to his usual work. At the same time, Emily cautiously accepted his assistance, each step forward laced with the tentative hope of something better. Alexander helped arrange a state-of-the-art wheelchair tailored precisely to Liam's needs, easing her physical burden and granting Liam newfound mobility. He connected her with a network of support services, including speech and occupational therapy programs that promised to enhance Liam's progress. Their interactions became more frequent but always respectful, a dance of boundaries and trust. Alexander admired Emily's strength and the bond she shared with Liam, a love that transcended hardship and illuminated the darkest corners of their lives. Emily, in turn, began to see Alexander not as a distant benefactor but as an ally, a partner on this challenging journey. Together, they organized a schedule that balanced Liam's treatments with Emily's work commitments, weaving therapy appointments around her shifts with careful precision. Alexander's presence brought unexpected relief, yet he was careful to step back when boundaries were needed, understanding that true support required patience and respect. One afternoon, in the bright light of the therapy center, Alexander watched as Liam's eyes lit up during a session. The boy's small hands grasped a brightly colored toy with new confidence, eliciting a proud smile from Emily that warmed the sterile room. The scent of fresh paint and clean floors mingled with the sounds of encouragement and laughter, a small oasis of hope amid the struggles. It was a world away from the challenges of their cramped apartment, yet deeply connected, a glimpse of what could be. This first phase of change was tentative but promising. Alexander's involvement was a lifeline, and Emily's resilience was the anchor. Together, they navigated the beginning steps toward a better life. The journey ahead was long, but for the first time, hope felt tangible, a fragile but growing flame. Despite the progress, obstacles soon emerged like dark clouds on an otherwise clear horizon. Emily's schedule became a delicate juggling act, with therapy appointments conflicting with work shifts, leaving her stretched thin and weary. Fatigue gnawed relentlessly at her resolve, and moments of doubt crept in during the quiet solitude of the night. One rainy evening, the sky heavy with low-hanging clouds, Emily arrived home drenched, Liam asleep in her arms. The weight of exhaustion pressed down, and tears slipped unbidden down her cheeks, tracing silent paths through the grime and fatigue. The apartment, usually a haven, felt cramped and cold, the persistent drip of a leaking faucet echoing in the silence. Alexander noticed the strain during a visit, the subtle tremor in her voice and the weariness behind her smile. "You're doing more than anyone should have to," he said quietly, offering a warm blanket and a comforting presence. "Let me help with the housework or errands. You don't have to carry this alone." Emily shook her head, pride flaring like a shield. "I have to do this myself. Liam needs me." Her voice was firm, yet beneath it lay a vulnerability she rarely allowed to surface. Their differing perspectives sparked tension, revealing the fragile balance between assistance and independence. Alexander struggled to respect Emily's boundaries while wanting to alleviate her burden, caught between his impulse to protect and the reality of her fierce autonomy. Financial challenges persisted despite his support. Insurance gaps and unexpected medical costs loomed large, shadows over their fragile stability. Emily's fear of losing their home intensified when a neighbor mentioned a potential sale of the building, sending waves of anxiety through her already strained heart. The scent of rain and dampness clung to their conversations, underscored by the persistent hum of that leaking faucet, a constant reminder of their fragile circumstances and the unending battle they faced. Yet, amid these trials, Emily's determination remained unbroken. She sought new job opportunities with flexible hours and explored community grants, refusing to surrender. Her spirit, though battered, was unyielding. Alexander, witnessing her grit, realized that true support meant patience and trust. Their partnership deepened, forged in the crucible of shared struggle and mutual respect. The path was fraught with challenges, but their resolve was stronger still, a promise to face whatever came together. With time, the relationship between Alexander, Emily, and Liam evolved beyond mere assistance. Shared meals, laughter, and quiet moments knitted their lives together in unexpected and profound ways, weaving a tapestry of connection that transcended social divides. One bright afternoon, Alexander brought a book of children's stories to Liam's therapy session. As Emily read aloud, her voice animated and warm, Liam's eyes sparkled with delight. the room filled with the rich scent of old paper and ink, mingling with the warmth of human connection that filled the space. The boys' delighted giggles echoed softly, the purest music in the quiet room. Emily and Alexander began to share stories of their pasts during these visits. She spoke of her childhood dreams and the heartbreak that led to her current struggles, the loss of Liam's father, the difficult choices she had made. He revealed glimpses of the loneliness behind his wealth, a childhood marked by absence despite abundance, the pressure of expectations, and a yearning for genuine connection. Their conversations were punctuated by Liam's delighted giggles and soft coos, his presence a bridge drawing them closer, binding their hearts with invisible threads. In the evenings, Emily invited Alexander to dinner. The small apartment buzzed with the aroma of home-cooked meals, roasted vegetables, fresh bread warm from the oven, and the sweet fragrance of baked apples spiced with cinnamon. The simple meals were a feast of comfort and belonging. Alexander, once distant and reserved, found himself opening up in ways he never had before. Emily's authenticity and courage touched something deep within him, breaking down walls he had long built. They celebrated small victories together. Liam's first steps with a walker, a successful therapy milestone, a shared holiday meal filled with laughter. Each moment was a thread weaving a tapestry of hope and healing. Their bond transcended social divides, rooted in empathy, trust, and genuine care. Together they formed an unlikely family, a testament to the transformative power of human connection and the resilience of the heart. Emily's journey was not just about external aid, it was a profound personal transformation unfolding quietly within her. Through Alexander's unwavering support, she discovered reserves of strength she had long forgotten, buried beneath years of hardship and sacrifice. One crisp morning, after a particularly challenging night with Liam's health, Emily stood before a cracked mirror. The reflection showed weariness etched deeply into her face, the dark circles under her eyes, the faint lines of stress, but also fierce determination burning brightly in her eyes. She was tired, yes, but unbroken. She resolved to advocate not only for her son, but for herself. Emily enrolled in evening classes, aiming to improve her skills and expand job prospects, envisioning a future where she could provide more than just survival. The scent of freshly printed textbooks replaced the stale apartment air, filling her with a sense of possibility. Alexander encouraged her every step of the way, providing childcare during classes and celebrating each completed assignment with quiet pride. Their partnership was a dance of mutual empowerment, a collaboration that enriched them both. Emily learned to navigate social services more confidently, turning frustration into action. She joined support groups, finding solidarity and inspiration among others who shared her struggles and dreams. Her growth rippled through her interactions with Liam. She approached his therapies with renewed energy and optimism, celebrating progress rather than dwelling on setbacks, her voice filled with hope and encouragement. The challenges remained, stubborn and unrelenting, but Emily's spirit flourished like a wildflower pushing through cracks in the pavement. She was no longer merely surviving, she was thriving. Alexander witnessed this transformation with awe, humbled by her resilience and the quiet strength she embodied. Together, they embodied hope, the quiet, steadfast kind that blossoms in adversity and lights the darkest paths. Just as hope seemed to bloom fully, a crisis struck with devastating force. Liam contracted a severe respiratory infection, necessitating emergency hospitalization. The small apartment, once a sanctuary filled with warmth and love, felt unbearably empty and cold without his presence. Emily's world shattered. Fear and helplessness consumed her as she sat by Liam's bedside, the sterile hospital air thick with antiseptic and anxiety. The rhythmic beep of monitors underscored the fragile line between life and loss, each sound amplifying the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her chest. Alexander was there, steady and unwavering, a pillar of strength amid the storm, but even his vast resources could not erase the pain etched deeply on Emily's face. He held her hand, offering silent comfort in moments when words failed. Days blurred into nights, time losing meaning in the endless cycle of doctors' updates and medical interventions. Doctors spoke in cautious tones. Therapies were intensified, and Emily clung to every hopeful sign like a lifeline. She whispered to Liam, promising he was not alone, her voice trembling but resolute. The crisis tested every bond, every ounce of courage they possessed. Emily's pride wrestled with vulnerability. Alexander's confidence met uncertainty. They faced the storm together, their connection forged in the crucible of shared fear and unwavering love. Outside, the city moved on, indifferent to their storm, its lights shining obliviously as life rushed forward. Inside, time stretched taut with fear and hope intertwined. Yet, amid the turmoil, the love between mother and son shone brightest. a beacon piercing the darkness, illuminating the path toward healing. This turning point was the ultimate test of resilience and faith, a crucible from which they would emerge forever changed. Liam's condition stabilized after days of tense waiting, but the ordeal left invisible scars etched deep within their hearts. Emily's exhaustion deepened, guilt and trauma weighed heavily, shadows that clung despite the light of recovery. The hospital visit drained finances and spirit alike, leaving a fragile peace in its wake. Alexander stood by, offering support but mindful of Emily's need for space and autonomy. He arranged counseling for Emily, recognizing the psychological toll that many overlooked. He understood that healing was more than physical. Back home, the familiar scent of the apartment mixed with medical supplies, a constant reminder of their journey's complexity and the battles fought within these walls. The leaking faucet persisted, a subtle but persistent echo of their fragile circumstances. Emily grappled with feelings of fragility and strength intertwined. She confided in Alexander, admitting fears she had long hidden beneath layers of resilience. Their relationship faced a reckoning, balancing help with respect, presence with independence. Together, they planned next steps, preventive care to safeguard Liam's health, therapy adjustments tailored to his evolving needs, and careful financial planning to prevent future crises. The crisis had reshaped their world, but also strengthened their resolve. They emerged not unscathed, but united, ready to face whatever came next with courage and grace. The path ahead was clearer, illuminated by hard-earned wisdom and the unbreakable bonds forged in adversity. With Liam's health improving steadily, Emily and Alexander prepared for a new phase in their journey. They sought a larger, accessible home, one that could accommodate Liam's needs and provide space for growth, a sanctuary where hope could take root and flourish. Alexander enlisted architects and designers to create a space blending functionality and warmth, transforming blueprints into visions of comfort and possibility. The scent of fresh paint and polished wood filled the air during visits to potential houses, mingling with the crisp spring breeze that whispered of new beginnings. Emily was involved in every decision, her voice guiding the vision with newfound confidence. The process was empowering, a tangible step toward stability and independence. She chose colors that made her heart light and textures that would soothe Liam's senses. They also planned community integration, enrolling Liam in a specialized school equipped to nurture his potential and connecting Emily with career resources that could open doors to new opportunities. The excitement was tempered by nerves. Change was daunting but necessary, a leap into uncertainty fortified by hope. Alexander and Emily held meetings, discussing budgets, timelines, and logistics with careful precision. Liam's favorite stuffed animal, a worn patch teddy, was packed carefully, a symbol of continuity amid transition and the enduring love that bound them. The anticipation built, a crescendo of hope and possibility that echoed in their hearts. This preparation was more than moving house. It was building a future, brick by brick, dream by dream. The day of the move dawned bright and clear, the sky a brilliant canvas of blue streaked with soft cottony clouds. The new home stood ready, bathed in sunlight and promise, its wide doorways and ramps a testament to thoughtful design and love. Emily carried Liam through the threshold, his eyes wide with curiosity and wonder. The scent of fresh linens and blooming garden roses greeted them, mingling with the faint aroma of new wood and clean paint. The house felt alive, humming softly with possibility. Alexander watched from the doorway, his heart swelling with pride and emotion. This was the climax of their shared journey, a testament to perseverance, love, and the power of human connection. Neighbors welcomed them warmly, their smiles a balm after years of isolation. The gentle murmur of greetings and the soft thud of footsteps filled the air, weaving a sense of community around the new home. Emily unpacked Liam's belongings, including the patch teddy, placing it carefully on his bed. A bridge between past and present, a silent promise of continuity and care. The air was alive with possibility, the walls echoing with laughter and hope as the family began to settle into their new life. Alexander and Emily stood together, knowing challenges remained but confident in their strength and unity. This was not just a house, it was home, a sanctuary built on courage and dreams. Settling in, Emily and Liam flourished in their new environment. Liam's therapies progressed with renewed vigor, supported by a nurturing space designed to meet his unique needs. The sunlight streaming through wide windows warmed the rooms, filling them with life. Emily pursued her education with determination, balancing motherhood with ambition, her evenings filled with study and quiet resolve. The scent of textbooks and fresh coffee blended with the homely aromas that filled their rooms. Alexander continued to support them, though with a lighter touch, respecting their independence and growth. His visits became moments of shared joy rather than obligation. The small garden became Liam's favorite spot, the scent of roses mingling with fresh earth as he played under Emily's watchful eyes. The soft rustle of leaves and birdsong created a peaceful backdrop to their days. Community connections deepened. Emily organized support groups, sharing her journey to inspire others facing similar challenges, her voice a beacon of hope. Together, they hosted a gathering, neighbors, therapists, friends, celebrating resilience and transformation. The patched teddy sat proudly on Liam's bed, a quiet emblem of their path. Their lives harmonized, a symphony of hope, love, and renewal. The struggles were not forgotten, but woven into a tapestry of triumph, each thread shining with the light of perseverance. Months later, Emily and Alexander stood in the garden, watching Liam play nearby with unsteady but joyful steps, the innocent laughter filling the air like music. The sun set, casting a warm golden glow over the home they had built together, a sanctuary born from struggle and hope. Emily smiled, her eyes reflecting strength, peace, and a quiet joy that had once seemed impossible. "I never imagined this life," she said softly, her voice filled with wonder and gratitude. Alexander nodded, gratitude swelling in his chest. "Neither did I. You've taught me more than I ever expected," he replied, his words carrying the weight of genuine transformation. Their partnership had transformed both, bridging worlds, hearts, and dreams with courage and compassion. Liam's laughter mingled with the scent of roses and fresh earth, a promise of endless tomorrows and the resilience of the human spirit. The patched teddy lay nestled in Liam's arms, a symbol of enduring love and the journey they had traveled. Their story was one of courage, resilience, and the power of human connection. Together, they had turned struggle into hope, building a future reimagined, one filled with light and limitless possibility.